What's up, everybody? Welcome to this sort of NKU Sports Break edition. We are hosting remote interviews because of COVID. I'm joined with our softball coach, Miss Kathryn Gleason, and we are excited to get to talking today. Coach, what does life look for you right now? What's going on?
Well, it's been a little different, during the pandemic. It's just, transitioning from working from home and now just in the last couple of weeks, recruiting from home, so virtual recruiting. So I've relocated for a couple of weeks down to Florida. So just, again, remotely doing it, but there's a lot of recruiting going on, a lot of softball travel tournaments going on. So just keeping my screens open and, trying to find some future Norse.
Yeah, future North. So for those kids coming in and now that you're having to kind of recruit remotely, not knowing what next season is going to look like how do those conversations go now that it's an entirely different ballpark per se?
Yeah, we can't really have conversations with them until September 1 of their junior year. We do have some kids in the 21 class committed. So just keeping them, keeping me abreast of what they're doing and where they're playing. And, it's not ideal watching from, a GoPro or a camera from behind home plate where the backstops are different. And, but we try to see as much as we can. I think what I've tried to relate to them and to some travel ball coaches is that it's just the recruiting calendar has changed and recruiting has changed, at least for the time being. So it's just a different world. So anytime we can see them, even just a little bit, a couple at bats, pitch a few innings, at least we get to see them.
Yeah. Is there anything about this kind of new kind of recruiting that you like more? Has it been beneficial in any way?
I think it's beneficial in terms that you can be at multiple places at one time. We might go to Chattanooga the first week in June, where my assistants and I would go, where there'd be another tournament happening in Ohio or Kentucky or something where we might not be able to cover all that. So what we're trying to do is, because of the computer, you can go to a game in Chattanooga in the morning and then you can go to Dublin, Ohio later that day or to Kansas City or something like that. So it allows that. It also is a bit overwhelming that we can go to all those places too.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's a lot to keep track of and a lot to stay on top of for sure. Mm-hmm. As far as the team now and everything, how have you guys kind of been able to stay close and stay together and kind of keep that morale up while also adhering to all of this distance and everyone being home and remote and all that stuff?
Well, when it first hit, we were basically in the middle of our season on spring break when we were called home from Florida. So we really kept up with them. We split them up into groups of 3 teams, and my assistant and I really kept on top of them weekly for academic meetings. And then we would have team Zoom calls, just to keep in touch. What are you doing? And we've been, and obviously then we got through the semester, had a tremendous semester. Our 10 seniors graduated, which I was most proud of. 2 of them will be returning to our team. So we've started team Zoom calls. We've had a guest speaker. I've also done a leadership course with a couple of our seniors, keeping at once a week doing that. So, GroupMe, all technology using that just to stay on them and see how they're doing and make sure they're doing okay. And now I think as we get more into July, the questions start coming about what's it going to look like when we go back to school? When are we going to come back to school? So those questions are starting to come up, and I think it's just a day-by-day question and answer for all of us.
And it's almost it seems like as soon as someone will get on top of a situation, the situation then changes. And so there's a whole new set of questions and a whole new set of answers. So we commend all of you all for staying on top of it. It's got to be an absolute whirlwind, especially halfway through the season. So do you know, is that going to impact next season in any way as far as any kind of preseason rankings or making up for games that didn't get to be played, or is it just everyone's kind of scratching it?
I believe it's a scratch, and then we'll just start over again. I think the plus of it, is that we kind of get to see what the fall sports are going to do, in terms of scheduling and, travel and things like that. And then, again, who knows what the world's going to look like when we get back for January and February, when we really start, kicking preseason and going into our games too. So I think we kind of have the luxury. We went through it at the beginning, but now we have the luxury of kind of just looking to see what the rest of them are going to do. So it'll be, a fresh start. We have 8 new freshmen coming in, and as I mentioned, we have 2 seniors returning. So we'll be a roster of 24 again, which is what we had this past year. But, excited for that fresh class to come in.
So with that fresh class coming in, like, what does the team dynamic look like this year? You've got your 2 senior leaders that are going to be a huge role. But as far as that many new people, like, what do you do? What's the team looking like?
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to figure out on these Zoom calls. It's so hard though, because you want them in one place, and as a coach and a leader, you just want them all in one room and get the feel of the relationships and how they interact with each other. We've kind of put them in little groups this summer to our leaders have taken each a little group, and so we can all be in charge of some people and get to know them a little better. So I'm excited to see what the dynamic is. But with the returners, I think we have, a lot of experience. Our, I guess, true seniors, you would call them, Maddie Mulder, Josie Frazier, and Haley Whitmer, our 3 seniors. They have all played and significantly contributed to our team since day one. And that's something that I've talked to them about, their experience. And then with Ava Lawson and Kaylee Rossiter returning, they've also contributed for 4 straight years. And, even the juniors and the sophomores have really made their mark. So I feel like they all have the experience to help these freshmen along, even though it'll be obviously a different experience for them. But I'm really relying on that strong experience that we have on almost every position. We're gaining 2 new pitchers in the freshman class. So that's exciting, but we also have returning Caitlin Carrera, a transfer student, from UT Martin a year ago. And, she got her feet wet. Faith Howard, who is, a redshirt junior, I guess you could call her, with that extra eligibility, she's coming back from injury and pitching a lot of innings. And, Lauren Hicks, one of our freshmen this past year, got a lot of innings as well. So, and Ashlyn Zuber. So, I really feel like we have experience on our side. And I think that it's always fun when the freshmen come in, because they bring a new energy and they're wide-eyed and ready to go. And I feel like, our upperclassmen and everybody else will take them under their wing and say, okay, this is what we do and this is how we do it. No matter what setting we'll be able to be in.
That's fantastic. That's to leadership. It means everything. So the fact that you've got such strong leaders on the team, that's super exciting coming into a season with that many new people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're going to end on a warm and fuzzy. What is your favorite NKU softball memory?
Oh, wow. My favorite NKU softball memory, probably last year in the Horizon League tournament. We went in as a 4 seed, which was the highest seed that we had ever been, and we lost the first game. And I said, oh boy, all right, we're gonna fight back. Well, then the game after us was a 16-inning affair, and it lasted 4 hours. So by the time we got to play that next game, we had forgotten that we had even played that day, and we went on a 3-game run. And, I get chills talking about it. Taylor Ginther, stepped up, and you were not taking the ball out of her hands. And, she wanted to lead the team, and, we rattled off 3 straight wins, and, and then eventually ended up losing to Detroit Mercy, who ended up winning the conference. But I think that whole 2.5 days was my favorite memory, because it was just all coming together and having them feel that success. And, you could see them taking our program to the next level at that point. And so that is something I always cherished. And that's something that, I tell the senior class all the time, the 10 that just graduated, the mark that they made on our program will always be with me, because they really set the bar.
Tournament time is so special.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing will ever compete with the team moments, the competitive moments, the sports moments, like all of it. Tournament time is something else. I think it's why we all keep coming back and why we all love it so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Coach Gleason, for your time. I had a great time today. And if you want, everybody wants to give NKU Softball and NKU Athletics a follow on social media for more of these coaches meetings.